am so happy to be here today to talk about how we're going to make stuff cost less in North Carolina. And I'd like for you guys to hang around because I'd love to say hello to every single one of you and listen to something that you might have to tell me, because we've been going all across North Carolina and we have been hearing from people about how stuff costs too much. You know, this is why I'm running for the United States Senate. I'm running for people like Stephanie, who are having sky-high utility bills that makes it difficult for them to afford, particularly when their paychecks aren't keeping up with it. I'm running for people like Matt, who are having to deal with child care expenses that are going through the roof when many families have to have both parents work to support the family. I'm running for people like Meredith, whom I met in Winston-Salem, who has a child named Vivian with cerebral palsy. And Vivian is on Medicaid. And Meredith is scared to death that all of these attacks on health care from Washington is going to take Vivi's health care away. And remember, this big, beautiful bill they passed put the Medicaid cuts to take effect after the election. I'm running for people like John, who is a small business owner in Black Mountain. And his utility bills are going through the roof, not only at home, but at his small business. And I'm running for people like Gerard, who's so proud that he just graduated. I think I'm going to hear it from North Carolina A&T State University. But, you know, he's glad to have gotten a job, but now he's looking at what the rent is going to cost because his job's in Charlotte. And he's wondering how in the world he's going to afford it. I'm running for all of the people across North Carolina who are looking up at the middle class and just thinking that they're never going to get there, thinking that the American dream is dead for them. I'm running for all of the people who are in the middle class and who are barely hanging on because the folks in Washington, particularly this administration, who promised them that they would put cost of living at the forefront on day one, not only have they not done that, but they have made it worse for people. I'm running for all these folks who have already been experiencing high food costs, utility costs, child care costs, health care costs. A lot of people have lost their health care because they cannot afford it. And now, a few months ago, here comes gas prices. More than $4 a gallon. Many people who have to drive far to work or have using a car for their job, they just simply can't afford this. Too many North Carolina families have too much month at the end of the money. We need people in Washington who care about that, and that's why I'm a candidate for the United States Senate. And I'll have to admit that I didn't think I'd ever say that. I walked out of the governor's mansion in January of last year and ripped off my tie and kicked off my dress shoes and put on my Michael Jordans that I still have on. Spent time with my family, spent a little while teaching, caught up on some reading, but then saw what was happening in Washington, D.C., 2 or 3 things happening almost every single day, any one of which we could talk about for hours as to the new level of chaos and horror that it hit. And I kept thinking to myself, you know, I need to do something about this. And I saw this Senate seat over here and I said, oh no, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to do it. Well, you know what hit me is I appreciate your encouragement and a lot of other encouragement that I got from people, but really what hit me was sitting in church every Sunday and thinking about that verse from the book of Luke. To whom much is given, much is required. And I thought about all that I had been given in my life. You know, Stephanie, you're a public school teacher. My mom's a public school teacher. People would come up to me when I was governor and say, I want to pay you a compliment. I think it's about me. And they say, your mama was the best teacher I ever had. You know, that's what public education does. And my dad, a small town lawyer and farmer, made me work hard on the farm every summer until I went to college. Was grateful for my wonderful family, my wife and 3 daughters. I was grateful to get a chance to wake up every single morning for 8 years, getting a chance to lead the state I love. And you know, we were able to get, in a bipartisan way, the Republican legislature to finally expand Medicaid in North Carolina. And on December the 1st, talk about a gift. December the 1st, I came right here to Charlotte, and we opened up the very first Medicaid expansion enrollments. And I got to go around that room and meet people who were getting health care, many of them for the first time. Gave Penny her very first card, talked to people, and I'm thinking, man, we are the richest country in the world. We ought to find a way to get everybody affordable, quality health care. And I'm ready to tackle that bear when I get to Washington. But I thought about the people that we had conversations with. Many of them, because they hadn't had health insurance, they had medical debt. And they had hospitals that had sued them, and they had civil judgments against them. And you know, when you've got a civil judgment, you can't get a credit card, you can't buy a house. So we started figuring a way to try and help them. And we leveraged some federal money. We brought all of our hospitals together, and we finally got all 99 hospitals to sign off on this. And it is now the largest debt relief program in the history of the United States. And so far, we've been able to wipe away $6.5 billion in medical debt for more than 2.5 million North Carolinians. And just as an example, I had Mary come up to me the other day and told me how she had a $54,000 medical bill because she was between insurance and she got hurt, and no fault of her own, but she had that judgment against her, and she'd been writing a check. She's on a fixed income, been writing a check for $80 a month, trying to pay that thing off. And she showed me that letter that whole $54,000 was wiped away. It transformed her life, and I thought about, that's the kind of gift that I'd been given as a leader to make a real difference in people's lives. And I knew I needed to run for the United States Senate because all of the work that we've been doing is at risk because of the people in Washington right now who are so consumed with their own power that that's all they care about. There's just too many people in Washington who want to be something instead of people in Washington who want to do something. And that's what I want. That's why I want to go to Washington. You can go to roycooper.com and you can see all of the things that we are proposing, like taking back the constitutional authority to the legislative branch on trade and tariffs, because these tariffs are hurting people. Taking back the constitutional authority on declaration of war. These gas prices are through the roof. We need people in Washington who want to get things done and who care about everyday people. Now, this race is going to be a tough race. We haven't elected a Democrat in North Carolina since 2008. And we know how hard it is. I have an opponent in Michael Whatley, who is the former North Carolina Republican Party chair who recruited and stood by stellar candidates like Mark Robinson, who has been a big oil and utility lobbyist, including Duke Energy in Washington, and lobbied for years to enrich those companies and allow them to have higher rates. And you know, Duke Energy has asked for yet another rate, which I am opposed to, and throughout my career have worked to oppose those kinds of rates. He's not opposed to it at all. I don't think we need that kind of person in Washington. Now, the bad thing for me is that Michael Whatley will do and say whatever the president tells him to do and say. And that means hundreds of millions of dollars are going to come down on my head in advertising, and it's starting to come, and they're going to try to convince the people of North Carolina that I'm someone I'm not, okay? The good thing for me is that Michael Whatley is going to do and say whatever this president tells him to do and say, and that means he's going around telling people that prices are down, that we've defeated inflation, and that the economy is great, and that, by the way, this slush fund that has been set up to give payouts to January 6 rioters who assaulted police officers and stormed the Capitol, he's okay with that when a lot of other Republicans have started to run away from it. Michael Whatley wants that to happen. We don't need him in the United States Senate, and I'm ready to step up and do it. Finally, let me tell you this. I'm a prisoner of hope. I truly believe this, that our best days are ahead of us. Talking with my daughters, my wife and I, we said to them, our parents left us a better country, but we have work to do to leave you a better country. But I believe we can. And the way you do it is you look for every opportunity you can. I believe when things are down, often when things are on the brink of destruction, you can recreate them better than they were before. We can make the federal government more effective and efficient. We can tackle things like Citizens United and extreme partisan gerrymandering. We can make sure that the focus is on everyday people. I'm going to be an independent senator who's going to put the people before power, the people before party, the people before politics. And I know that we can get things done if I keep the people as my focus. I'm excited about doing this. I'm so glad that you are here. Let's work together to win this race and to make sure we make stuff cost less. Thank you, thank you, thank you.